welcome to the Congo Hour. My name is Trippy. Right now I'm here by myself this evening. I think that my dad is on his way. And Wayna, I'm not sure if she's going to make it. She was having a little bit of car troubles. And she says she is still going to try to make it, but if she doesn't, the show must go on. I'm not sure what happened last Sunday. I was out sick, but Wayna was supposed to keep her word to all of you all and weigh in, but I heard that she didn't. So I'm not sure if this is just another stall tactic or not by Wayna, trying to avoid getting on that scale. I'm not sure, but we'll have to find out what's going on, hopefully when she gets here. When my dad gets here, we're going to talk about the funeral home for a little bit. We're going to talk about some of the solutions to some of the violence that I believe that we can try to take on here in the city of Wilmington. A lot of times, so much focus is on the police and public safety, but I believe that is not the answer. I think that is just and I've been saying it for a few weeks now, just an easy target, just to say it's the police fault or it's the government's fault or something like that. But we're going to get into that in a little bit. We're going to have our funeral announcements. We're going to have some community news. We have a lot of birthday shout outs that we want to give. So I'm going to take a really quick break, and I will be right back. All right, welcome back to the show. It seems like everybody is standing me up tonight. We had actually had 3 guests scheduled. Nobody showed up. My dad's not here. Wayne is not here, but we're going to keep on rolling. Just like I said I was going to do earlier. I guess I just want to just touch on some of the things that we've been hearing and experiencing here in Wilmington already this year and throughout all of last year, and just for, I guess, for far too long. And it's just the violence and how it's affecting the residents and the children and the elderly and the business community here in Wilmington. And I guess one of the first things that we always point to is public safety. And I think they do have a part in they do play one of several parts in trying to end this violence that we're going through here in Wilmington. I don't think that they are the main key, though, as many people do. I mean, they can do a much better job. The Wilmington Police Department can do a much better job, but we can't put a police officer on every block. We can't. We just don't have enough officers to try to think that we can fix this problem that we're experiencing. Even if we do, we're still left with a generation who I believe is just headed in the wrong direction. Like, the police can't educate our children. They can maybe prevent them from committing crimes as much as they are now, but we're still going to be left with kids who are uneducated, kids who don't have some basic core values that they need to be successful in life, and to just to be a better generation. That's why I think one of the key elements is education. And I guess my thinking is not like most, where I think that the government, like the state of Delaware, really needs to start educating our children at an earlier age. And I think they really need to look at the curriculum that we're teaching our children. Is it really preparing them for today's society? We just really need to take some drastic measures around education. I think that we have to build more schools. We have to hire more teachers. Teachers need smaller class sizes. They need more tools to educate children. I know the family has a part of that. I don't want to act like that I don't know that the family plays a vital role in that. But we can't keep saying that it starts at home, it starts at home, it starts at home, when a lot of times the home doesn't know any better than the children do. So I think that's an easy way out, just to try to blame parents, but you really can't place blame on a mother or a father who doesn't know any better, themselves. So I don't know how we approach it holistically when we include the family. I don't know the answer to that. I know that's vital, but the government has to do better. I don't think that it's fair to blame our police officers for not doing as well as they could be, as far as cleaning up the mess that could be prevented if we just put more energy and focus on it on the front end. I just think that we need to just educate and educate and educate. And I think we need to shrink our government. I think our government is way too big, and we need to increase education. I've only been in city council for a little over five years, but during this time, I've seen only just on the city level where we can do more in education. I mean, we could do more. We could spend less on our government and put that money into education. So if we're spending the kind of money that I've seen that we spend on the city level, just imagine what it is on the county level, and then even greater on the state level. There's just so many ways that where we could educate our children much better than we already are. And it can't be about finances can't be the thing that's stopping us. It just has to. We have to make it work. When the kids get in trouble, we find a way to imprison them and to pay for it then. So we have to find those same monies to educate them in the front end when they're younger. I just believe that it's a long-term fix. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Everybody wants a quick fix that we can see immediately. I think that's where public safety can plays a vital role. But I don't think that public safety, the police officers, that's not the complete answer. But around public safety, I do believe that we need county officers. We do need state officers patrolling our streets. I don't think that is fair for them to come in when it's convenient for them. Not trying to make light of the situation, but when the state trooper was shot here in Wilmington, county and police officers were everywhere. And they continued to patrol that area for a very long time, and I think they still might even be doing it. But when it's not one of their own, they didn't find that they don't make that a priority. I think that's almost it is a slap in the face. If they could be here then, I believe they could be patrolling our city more often. You hear stories about WPD may not want their assistance, where pride or ego may get in the way, but they didn't ask for the Wilmington Police Department's permission to come in when one of their troopers was shot. They came in and they did what they thought needed to be done, and we need more of that. Our residents who pay county taxes, who pay state taxes, they deserve it. So for it not to happen, I think that's a crime within itself. Again, that's not the answer, but I do think having a greater team of county and police and city officers, it just makes sense, and it's what our residents deserve, and it's what they pay for. So we have to put politics aside. We have to put egos aside. And I'm not trying to paint a picture that the WPD that they don't have good officers, that they're not trying, that they're not doing a good job, but they could do better. I think so many times we get caught up in not trying to offend, public safety because of their job is so difficult and so dangerous. We kind of tread lightly around them, and we do have to respect what they do, because it's not a job that I could do at all. So I'm not trying to make light of it at all, but I do think that we have to address the issues if there is one. And it's not easy, but it's something that needs to be addressed if we're ever going to try to fix it. We just need more help. I had friends talk to me about, during election time, you see all these county officials, you see the state officials in churches and on the show, and they're everywhere. But I haven't really heard any of them, and they may have, maybe I haven't heard it, but I haven't heard their position on what they're going to do. I've heard, talks of them talking privately with other political figures, but I haven't seen them, here on Channel 28. They're not knocking on our door or ringing our phone trying to get time here on the show to talk about how they feel about what's going on in Wilmington. And that's true, and it's very frustrating. We have to remember that during our upcoming elections. I think one of the greatest things that I have learned, while on city council is a lot, especially on the city level. Like, city council has a perception of having a lot of power. It's very frustrating to realize that we don't have as much power and authority as people think that we do. Like we don't have any influence on public safety. We don't have any influence, not even the mayor does, on education. All of those things take place in Dover, and that they lie with our state reps and our senators, and a lot of the political figures in Dover. And unfortunately, we don't hold them accountable to the point where we're showing up in Dover and we're trying to let them know that we know that they can do better. A couple of friends and I who were supposed to be on with me this evening, we were going to try to have a rally where we take people to Dover, to our legislative hall, and let them know that that we're watching, that we expect more of them. And we're still going to do that. We have to go down there in massive numbers. We cannot go with 30 or 40 people. I think we have to go with hundreds of people to let them know that we're watching, and that we know that that they could do a lot better. They could do things differently for us here in Wilmington, because that's where the money is. That's where the power is. As far as creating laws and putting things in effect that could help our children and could help our elderly. So we're still going to do that. We're still trying to see what the best route is to make it so that it's effective, and we're just not going down there and with a group of people with no purpose. So a lot of people when they I guess people react so viciously when I don't want to say vicious, but people are so adamant about political figures doing something here in Wilmington when someone is shot and when someone unfortunately is murdered. But things kind of died down, and when I said I was going to Dover, people kind of backed off. I don't know if it's because of a relationship that they may have with people in Dover, but it was funny when we said that we were going to try to do something. Everybody was on board. But when I said we're going to do something in Dover, people kind of say, hold up. Why are you going to Dover? Like almost they're intimidated by the political figures in Dover. I'm not. I mean, I have I have a lot of them who I consider my friends, but at the same time, I'm going to hold them accountable for some of the things that they that they sat right here on this show and talked about that they would do. When they were here, they didn't say that they were going to ask for anyone's permission to come in and help. They said they were going to help. But now, you hear stories of how they have to ask someone's permission to come into our city and help, and that doesn't really make sense. I think that my dad might be here now, so I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll let him join in on the conversation. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. I guess we can call this part of the show Sammy's Corner since he's here. Welcome to. I guess you should welcome me to Sammy's Corner.
That's right.
I turn the show over to you.
I was interested in what you were saying. Tell me what you were saying.
I was just talking about, I guess, some of the solutions, because of course there are several solutions to the situation here in Wilmington as far around violence, and how it's so easy to say that it is public safety, that it is policing, but I don't think that is the answer. I think that's part of the answer, but I think it's much bigger than that, and it's much deeper than that. I think we have to expect more of our I guess schools and school districts and public officials in Dover around education. And I think that we need to take a strong look on how we are educating our children and how we need to do a better job of it. Not leaving the family out of it at all, because a lot of times we say it starts at home and it starts with the family. And that is true, ideally, but I don't see how we can put a blame on a family or a mother or a father who may not know any better, himself or herself. Like how can we expect a mother or a father who pretty much may have raised them, they might have raised themselves. So now we're expecting them to raise children better than they were raised, and I think that's quite a burden to place on someone. I think it's an unfair burden to place on a person. So I think that's where government has to step in, because government steps in on the back end when things don't go right, and a child may have to go to Ferris, and a child may have to go to, an adult may have to go to Gander Hill or to Smyrna. So I just don't think that it's fair that government just don't take a greater role in taking preventative measures, if that's correct to say, towards some of the situations that we're experiencing here in Wilmington. We don't have any long-term drug rehabilitation centers in Delaware, if someone really wants to try to get on the right path, a lot of times, well, all the time, they have to go out of state. We have temporary fixes where there may be a like a Brandywine counseling. Nothing against Brandywine counseling, but there's not that long-term help that many people need to kind of take themselves out of the situation and stay somewhere for 3, 6, 9 months, for a year. We don't have that here in Delaware, and I think that we need that, and I think that's where we have to place that on officials in Dover, because they can make that happen. And they have the monies to make that happen. So I don't think that that I don't want to take anyone locally out of the equation, but I think that just being in politics the short amount of time that I've been in politics, that it's just has let me see how much more people can help. When I say people, I mean public officials in in the county and in Dover can help, and they need to help because they have the power. Like we don't have the type of monies, and we don't have the type of authority in Wilmington to talk about some of the things that I'm talking about, as far as setting up an infrastructure to make sure that we are successful, and make sure that our children are successful.
Well, I think all you say is true, but I think there's a foundation that you're missing,
What's that?
and that is that we have to rally the people. You see, the people are asking for you politicians to give the leadership for them as they see it, not as you see it.
Right.
When the officials get elected, they give their opinions as they see it,
Okay.
which begins to make people lose value. And so when they lose value, they lose concern and interest and involvement. When people are involved, they are very supportive, they're knowledgeable, they get the information. I think there has to be a educational process on all the local officials first. For instance, we know that a lot of power is here in Wilmington.
When you say power, what do you mean when you say power?
Well, funds, the power to elect people are here in Wilmington.
All right. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Okay? But we don't exercise that power.
All right.
We vote, then it's over. I think we have to follow up on it.
All right.
We fail to realize there's an abundance of support, and that we could get more from the county. We pay tremendous county taxes.
Right.
And yet we don't ask those resources to come here and take care of the city. The city is a part of the county.
Right, and a part of the state.
And a part of the state. We pay state taxes, we pay all kind of taxes, but believe that we have a fence built around Wilmington that limits us. Wilmington has been hit terribly by General Motors leaving, and Chrysler leaving, and Avon leaving, and the refineries leaving, and then DuPont and companies like that who have filtered hundreds of thousands of jobs to other countries to make a better profit. And I can understand that. But don't blame people. Can you imagine now if you didn't have a job, you didn't have the support that you have, what would you do without a job?
All right.
How would you take care of your kids without a job? They're talking about the technical supports, that there are many jobs around. But why aren't we training people and people are knowledgeable? If we had a war to break out right now, I mean a real bad war, the government wouldn't wait on you to sign up. They would start a draft system if they didn't have enough men.
Right.
They would do all kind of creative things to compete with whoever the war was with. they're not doing that now and competing with the challenges that we have without jobs. Jobs make people do crazy stuff. Yeah, when you can't feed your family, when you can't pay your bills. A guy came up to me the other day and said, you know, how cold it's been, I don't have heat. There should be a system that says this guy and his children should not have to suffer like that. When there's billions of dollars around and people are going out for dinner and spending hundreds of dollars and this guy can't get enough oil to heat his family. You know, this community that we live in, you know, we don't focus in on what we need to focus in on. You know, the newspapers play these exciting games with, you know, shootings and all that stuff. But there are more critical conditions around here. Now, for those who have lost their loved ones, I understand, but it is the system that has caused that kind of mentality.
Right. So how do we address that? Like, how do we attack that system or fix that system? I won't say attack. How do we fix that system? 'Cause that's why I think that so many people missing that the way some of our children are acting right now is because of a system of how they were raised. And a lot of time, and you know, fathers not wanting to take care of their children, and it's because of a system that made that okay. And a lot of times, I don't think people really see.
No, that's not true.
You don't think the system had anything to do with like breaking up the family unit?
They broke it up, but it wasn't because the father wanted to.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So like, how do we address that? Because I don't think that the system is going to fix it itself, because the system is okay. But how do we get people on board to address those kind of issues?
I don't understand when you say that the system is okay.
Like, how do we make it important to? I guess I know how much power is in Dover, and how much money is in Dover. Like, how do we make, and how much authority can happen? I mean, how much authority, you know, lies in in legislative hall? Like, how do we get them on board to try to fix?
They're not affected by what you're affected by.
I know,
Well,
but
by
they control
what
it though. That's what I mean. But they control it. They're not affected by it, but they control it.
They must be affected by it.
But how do we do? So, like, what do we do then?
We have to do things. We have to go down there. We have to realize that it's not. They're not going to come to us. We've got to go to them.
Right.
And make it known, the same way that we made it known to Comcast and Comcast is a big giant, not a local Wilmington activity. But we had to go to Comcast and the city and other people to make them aware of the fact that there was a group of people in Wilmington that felt that Channel 28 was necessary and was very important to our city. And we worked on it and worked on it. We just didn't go to them and say it's okay, even when they said they weren't going to do it. We did a lot to make sure it was done. And I think that the values of the people, we must educate our people to help them to understand that they have to be more active. We just can't have a civic organization with 40 people in it. We got to have 400 people in it. And we've got to have 50 organizations. And then when they get together and move on Dover, you're not going to do it going down there yourself.
Right.
You know, you might as well just save your gas. But when
that's what I know.
4,000 people go down there, not only will you give pressure to the local Delaware, that kind of information flows to the federal government. And so people oil the wheel that makes the most noise.
And I guess that's where I'm kind of stuck on, like trying to make that happen, because I know that that's where, I guess in my opinion, that's where things can really start to change, like for Wilmington. So I'm really focused on trying to make something like you were just talking about happen. Like we really haven't had a chance to talk about it too much, but I really want to try to organize something where we take hundreds, if not thousands, of people to Dover to let them know that we expect more, and that's what I was kind of touching on earlier before you came. But so I don't know. Like, so people are so complacent and not used to doing that, not used to challenging on Dover. Like how do we make that happen? Like it's frustrating trying to get people motivated and getting them to see that that's where their energy needs to be focused, and not only here. I don't want to take away anything from any of the from local government at all, because we do have a part to play as well. But how do we get people to stop focusing only on the mayor and only on public safety, on the police department, and switch that focus to Dover?
I'm not sure that until you get your local stuff in place, can you even think about Dover.
Okay.
So you've got to, I think all the people must understand that there has to be one kind of focus. Like tomorrow morning, we're celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King's
All right.
birthday. And Dr. King worked day and night and day, weekends, holidays, cross whether they were black, white, Jews, he didn't care, because he wanted to find a better place for people who were not treated right to get a piece of the pie of America. And so he worked hard at that, and I mean, he went to jail. He did a lot. Not many people are willing to do that, but he made a big change in this country. We have to understand, if we're going to make change, there is some tremendous sacrifice that has to take place. I don't know how many people are willing to do that.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's what I'm finding out, and it is frustrating. But I don't want to. Of course, we can't throw the towel in, because I know that again, in my opinion, that's where kind of you say the rubber meets the road.
Yeah, you really have to decide that this is, in your time, you would like to see some change take place. And the kind of energy, not just talking about it or sitting down as a group, I mean really sacrificing and even being at risk when you do things like that. Is it worth it? If it's worth it for our kids to go to Afghanistan, in another country, to be killed, why can't we feel that it is worthwhile right here in this city to stand up for things you believe in? And that's kind of where I am in terms of all of the responsibilities. You have one, I have one, but we don't exercise them.
Right.
None. I mean, we're comfortable, and the ones that's comfortable are the ones that can make the change. But they're the ones that don't make the change. They'll do something for ego, but they're not doing something to make it comfortable for their fellow man. I don't believe. I think there's too many people comfortable.
All right. No, you're right. I guess that's what I've been seeing and trying to organize this effort to get people motivated to show up, to go to Dover. A lot of people are comfortable. A lot of people have relationships that they don't want to cross. But I'm not going to give up. I think, because I believe that's just, I almost believe that's one of my callings, to make sure that that Dover is put on guard for us here in Wilmington. Talk to me.
I just think that it locally, see, Dover just happens to be a location for me.
Okay.
Dover could be Wilmington. The county seat or the capital could be Wilmington. And everybody could meet up here. It wouldn't make any difference if the values aren't there. The values in Dover could be the values up here.
Right.
So we have to make sure that we're prepared here because we have the population, we also have the problem. And so we have to sensitize people. And we can only do that through what you guys do as council people. Organize and give leadership to your community folk. Give them the information and the support that is required to raise the attention so that people can pay attention to what you're talking about. And I think that it's like Obama, the struggle that he had when he went to Washington. And it wasn't only because he was a Democrat, it's because he's a black man. So he is now turning that. It took him 4 years to even get them to budge a little bit. Now he's getting across the aisle a little bit. But if we begin to put pressure on some people when we're talking about elections, I believe that's where the rubber meets the road. I think too many people get elected in, they get caught up in the system, and they're no longer effective.
All right. Okay. Maybe we can continue this conversation next week. We have to take a little break and get to our funeral announcements.
Well, that sounds good. I also have to say hello to Nancy Jenkins. She's told me that if I don't say something and give a shout out to her, do not walk out of this building and get in my car. That was a threat, but I'm going to let her get away with that. But hello, Nancy. It's old Sam here saying hello to you.
So now you're safe?
Now I'm safe.
Okay.
We'll take a break now.
All right, we'll be right back. Okay, at this time we're going to have our funeral announcements. First we have Miss Joanne Kale, age 58. Departed this life January the 11th. Her funeral services were yesterday at the Trinity AME Church in Middletown, and her burial took place in the Mount Pisgah Cemetery. Miss Silver Lee Washington, age 90, departed this life January the 12th. Her funeral services were also yesterday at the Carter Temple Church of God in Newcastle. Her burial will be on Wednesday at 11 a.m. at the Delaware Veterans Cemetery. Mr. Willie Calloway Jr., age 78, departed this life January the 10th. His funeral will take place tomorrow at 7 p.m. at the Community Presbyterian Church, 519 Rogers Road in Newcastle. Viewing will be from 5 to 6:45 only, and his burial will take place on Tuesday at 10 a.m. in the Delaware Veterans Cemetery. Mr. Albert Richardson, age 82, departed this life January the 6th. His funeral services will be on Tuesday at 12 p.m. at the Wrights AME Church, 125 Booth Street in Elkton, Maryland. Viewing will be from 11 to 11:45 only, and his burial will take place in the Delaware Veterans Memorial Park. Miss Ernestine Washington, age 66, departed this life January the 18th. Her funeral services will be on Saturday, January the 25th at 9 a.m. at the Faith Tabernacle United Holy Church, 1000 Vandiver Avenue. Viewing will be from 8 to 8:45 only, and her burial will take place in the Gracelawn Memorial Park. Services for Miss Beatrice Butcher, age 68, who departed this life January the 18th, will be announced at a later date. Services for Mr. Willis Rollins, age 38, who departed this life January the 18th, will be announced. Funeral services will also be announced for Mr. Harold Roberts, age 63, who departed this life January the 17th. And funeral services will be announced for Mr. James Warren McAllister, Jr., age 33, who departed this life January the 16th. And that does conclude all of our funeral announcements. If you have any questions, please call us at the funeral home anytime at 652-8887. Also, you can always go to our website at www.congofuneralhome.com. I'm going to take a very quick break, and I'll be right back with some community news. Okay, so for some of our community news, on Family and Friends Day, we'll be at Community Presbyterian Church next Sunday, January the 26th, for their 11 a.m. service. Community Presbyterian is located at 519 Rogers Road in Newcastle. There's going to be an old school party, an all-school, all-class, grown and sexy cabaret. It's going to be on February the 22nd. It's going to be at the Longshoreman Hall. Tickets for only $15 in advance, $20 at the door. It's sponsored by the Wilmington High School class of 1974. And again, they're inviting all schools, AI, Howard, PS DuPont, Dealer War, Just to Impress. For more information, please call 528-0078, 528-0078. The urgency of now, the state of young African American males and why Delaware can't wait. Join us for an evening of conversation, networking, and a message from keynote speaker Ronald McCrae. This is going to take place on January the 23rd. It's going to be at the Barclays Bank, 125 South West Street here in Wilmington. For more information, please call 573-3715. Once again, that number is 573-3715, and that is on this Thursday, January the 23rd, from 5:30 to 7:30. Okay, that does conclude our show. Thank you so much for watching. If you ever want to be a part of the Congo Hour, please call us at 652-8887. Thank you, and God willing, we'll see you next Sunday.